Hi, I'm on the road today, but I wanted to make sure and do another video encouragement. I just want to encourage you today that you are exactly who the Father says you are. You know, God reminded me of the story of the prodigal son, and it wasn't the prodigal son's view of himself that defined him. And it wasn't the older brother's view of him that defined him either. You know, when the prodigal son, when he returned home to his father, he had a pretty low opinion of himself. In fact, in his own mind, he had thought, I'm not even worthy to be called my father's son. And so that's his opinion of himself was pretty low at that point. And the older brother's opinion of him was probably even worse. You know, he's like, who is this punk kid coming back after he had wasted his father's inheritance on prostitutes and on wild living? And so the older brother's view of him was also pretty low. But it wasn't his view of himself or the view of the older brother that defined him, but it was the father's view of him that defined him. And that there's such a powerful spiritual truth for us. We need to let God's view of us define who we are. You know, the father in that story, he came to the prodigal son, he wrapped the robe of righteousness around him, he put shoes on his feet, and he put the ring of identity on his finger, because it's what the father thought about him that truly mattered. And then the father was communicating value to him that day. He was communicating worth to him, that you are my son, you are special, you are important, and I want you to come in and enter into the joy of the Lord, the celebration. And so let what the Father thinks about you define your life. Don't let your own thoughts, which can war against the Father's thoughts for you, define you. And don't let other people's thoughts about you, even the perceived thoughts that you think they're thinking, don't let those thoughts define you. Let the Father's view of you define you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are seated in heavenly places with Jesus Christ, and the Father calls you son. So I hope that encouraged you today, and God bless you, and look forward to talking to you again soon.